Thanks everybody for joining me here. I guess we'll have a couple more people trickle in, but want to get started. I'm Jason Mendonca. I'm with VirtualWorks. VirtualWorks is a certified Alfresco technology partner, and we are an enterprise search company trying to add the ability to aggregate content in various silos into Alfresco or whatever user interface is most important to you. So, quick agenda. I just covered the introductions at the same time there. What I'll do is just kind of the quick overview who we are, talk a little bit about the problem that we're looking to solve, maybe why it might be important to you, talk a little bit about aggregated search versus distributed search, if you will, and then dive into our product within Alfresco. And now I'm going to touch on finally something that I think is a very interesting potential solution, especially for any of you who are looking at Alfresco for a new project or for the first time. Is anybody here considering Alfresco, or do you already have it? Considering? Have it? Okay, excellent. Well, so maybe it'll resonate, but stop me if it gets too dry. So, VirtualWorks was founded as a Norwegian company just around the corner from the guys at Fast, and was brought over to the U.S. a few years ago by Ed Yakabuchi. Ed founded Citrix. He had a good name. He brought in some investors, actually rebuilt the technology, and VirtualWorks was born just a few years ago. And really our reason to be is to give people, as content continues to grow and people are putting content in a lot of different places, we're looking to give you the ability to aggregate that information. Don't search in 7 different systems. Search in one place and find where it's located. But we don't copy content, we don't move content, we just index it. I like to consider us the Dewey Decimal System. You don't walk into the library and just walk the stacks. You go to the 3x5 index cards and you look for the book that you're looking for, and then you go to that place. You save a whole lot of time instead of just wandering around looking for that book. So the problem that we're trying to solve here is maybe resonates with some of you guys, but you've got knowledge workers. You've got people who are taking content and they're doing something with it. And the IDC came out with a study. Sorry, that's a little slide build I didn't realize was there. The IDC came out with a study that said that employees are spending upwards of 16 hours looking for information as opposed to doing their job. It creates a tremendous inefficiency, and I'll get that stat to come back up here. Creates a tremendous inefficiency, and imagine what you could do if your employees were actually spending, there's no way I can give you all of that time back, that would be impossible, but if I could give you half of that time or 2/3 of that time back, how much more efficient could they be? How many more tasks could they accomplish? How many more customers could you get, right? How much more business could you do? Sorry about the build here, it's continuing forward without me. Jump back for me. I don't like slide builds for this exact reason. Bear with it. So I'll keep talking while it figures out what it wants to do. In addition to that time that people are spending, the study goes on to note that many organizations have actually more than 4 systems where content is being stored. It's something along the lines of 60% of organizations have more than 4 places where their knowledge workers have to look for information. And that could be file shares, content systems, email, other content systems from another group, and the list goes on and on. With that, you end up having 63%, the slide's gone on without me here. Sorry about this. That's, did not do this to me earlier when I was running through this. 60+% of people find it hard to find information. It's a big problem. And it goes on to say 17% of companies actually have more than 11 content silos where information lives. That's a problem, right? And the net of it is the CIOs, the guys that are making decisions are basically coming out and saying, this is a problem, I realize it's a problem. But search by itself is kind of funny. If you were going to buy a new car and they said, hey, would you like the heated and ventilated seats? You might say, hey, that sounds like a neat option, I'd like that. But if I walked up to you on the street with a heated and ventilated seat and said, do you want to buy this? You're going to look at me kind of funny, right? Will it fit in my car even? Not really interested. Where did you steal that seat from? So it doesn't make sense for me to sell search by itself. So what we've done is actually created an integration into Alfresco. Alfresco is a fantastic tool. If you saw some of the talk the other day and showing off the new features and functionality. It's amazing where it's come. It's a future-thinking ECM. And you might have some of these other systems. You might have Office 365, which is new, but maybe more of a collaboration tool. SharePoint, you've got OpenText, Documentum, you've got file shares and email. What we've actually done is integrated our VirtualWorks, VirtualWorks search tool into Alfresco, allowing you to leverage Alfresco as that one place that you can search for everything. Getting those people that are looking through 4, 5, 6, 11 systems to be able to go to Alfresco and find everything. Alfresco likes that because it adds a little bit of gravity to Alfresco, right? And your folks are going to like it because now they can get their job done faster. Your CFO is going to love it because people are more efficient and there's more money coming in, right? So we're solving a problem that I think is a real problem. And would love to get a little bit of feedback at the end from you guys on if this is something you're interested in, something you're looking at. I'm guessing there's at least some passing interest if you're all here. So taking another look at it, right? Because pictures are fun. This is what your people's days might look like, right? I'm looking for something, and I've got to look in the file share, and then I've got to go to my document management system, and so maybe it's in email. I saw that contract that was in a file share, and I emailed it to my customer, and he made a change, and he emailed it back. Now I've got to get it into my content management system. Oh, geez, the legal team's been working on it. They've been editing the wrong document. All these problems can occur, and what we're looking to do is help to solve that. Take away some of the time spent and the time wasted doing work, deduplicate some things so you've always got that one master copy and you know where it is. And with the work that Alfresco can do, add workflow to things, hide the complexity of finding information and make it look like it's just one user interface, that Alfresco user interface, or the application that you prefer to use. If you're using some other front end for Alfresco, we can integrate the search into that. So jump back just a little bit in time, right? Why aggregated search versus the way we've done it before? Your traditional search just crawls that one repository it's connected to, it indexes it, and then you individually go in and you search that. What we're looking to do is actually index everything. As I said, we don't copy data and we don't move data. We actually index it all, put it into a normalized view, and give you the ability to find it from all from one place. Again, reducing time, creating efficiency, saving money. So I've said these things again, or already, but I'll say them again. The benefits of adding the VirtualWorks VirtualWorks server is that increased accuracy and increased efficiencies. You've got employees that know that they're working on the latest one. If they're not sure they're working on the latest one, they can search. They can find, oh, that last copy actually came in via email. The one that's actually sitting in Alfresco isn't the most up to date. Let me grab it. We're reducing risk, right? If you're dealing with you know, big contracts that you need to make sure are 100% accurate and that clause didn't make it in there, that's dangerous. If you're dealing with government agencies or government regulations and you need to make sure that you have your hands on everything. If you're working on a legal case where the discovery process is going on and you need to ensure that all the information related to that case is there and available, we're helping to make that available to you, reducing risk. And I'll talk about another way I think we could reduce risk in just a moment. But the net result of all of this is increasing profits, creating efficiencies, et cetera. Another lovely slide build, sorry. Okay, so what I talked about a moment ago in regards to maybe moving to Alfresco is it's an interesting use case to me. Really what I think you could do in a lot of cases, I worked at Alfresco before, so I've seen this. Alfresco comes in with your friendly neighborhood Alfresco system integrator, and they say, hey, this is a solution, it's a forward-thinking solution, it's better than that legacy, I'll pick on Documentum system, we can actually get you to where you want to go tomorrow, today. And they take a look at it, they say, okay, well, Alfresco is $100,000 a year, the installation and integration is $70,000 a year, these aren't real numbers, I'm making them up on the fly here. And the migration from Documentum to Alfresco is going to be $250,000, $300,000. And it's going to take 6 to 9 months. That's kind of scary. If you're looking at Alfresco for the first time, maybe what you want to take a look at is mitigating some of that risk. Not only are you having to migrate content, which is an arduous task, you're actually looking at a new technology or expanding a technology within your company. So what I would suggest you could potentially do would be buy the Alfresco software, talk to your friendly neighborhood system integrator. Our media is a great one. Have them come in, do the installation, the integration, and build that solution. Get that solution up and humming. Make sure that it works. Step one. Step two, bring in VirtualWorks. We can add the VirtualWorks integration into Alfresco, and I'm not going to get into our pricing, but it's extremely low compared to a $250,000 migration. Bring that in, we can aggregate the content in those other systems and give you the view to it. Now, I said we don't move content, we don't copy content, right? But with the help of our media, and no offense, guys, but I'm going to talk about some of the other partners here as well, right? Our media's got tremendous abilities around Alfresco and VirtualWorks. Companies like TSG have their Open Migrate platform. They could help you with the content moving. MicroStrategies has a Alfresco Exchange and Office integration that could give you the ability to ingest content into Alfresco. There's a number of partners out there with the ability to give you the action, right? But again, what we've done now is taken a smaller chunk of that budget in year one, proven the technology, given your people access to the content, and now you can budget for 6, 9, 12 months down the road. What do I actually need to migrate, or do I now need to migrate? Perhaps you look at it and you say, 30% of the content in here hasn't been accessed in the last 12 months. Let's only move the content that's been accessed in the last 12 months into Alfresco. Keep it nice and neat. Maybe you put that other content in some sort of a cold storage type place, maybe Amazon's cold storage device or cloud devices. Perhaps you don't migrate at all. Maybe you leave the system in place, depending on the cost to the company. There's a lot of options you can do with it, but now you've got a streamlined system. It's been built, it's working, and you've actually reduced the risk in year one of a project that was just too large. You don't want to eat the elephant all in one bite. So there are a lot of other use cases, right? You could actually use it as an intranet type solution. Everybody's got a portal, and outside of looking at HR documents and maybe the menu in the cafeteria, people don't tend to go there, right? But everybody invested in it and they want it to be better. So giving your portal a search solution could be one way to leverage VirtualWorks. Obviously, we've talked about ECM adoption and why it might matter to you, but we're also connecting to ERP systems, other document management systems, et cetera. So there's a lot of different things that you can connect to help create efficiencies and speed up time, or speed up processes. Additionally, because we provide filters and an OCR engine, we actually can make that content a little more intelligent than it would be as just a silly PDF. Alfresco is an excellent tool. It uses a lot of metadata to make sure that you're finding information. We actually take it a step further. By full text indexing the content, we actually make all of it searchable. So to take it a step further, we've actually, for example, within email, give you the ability to index the attachments to an email. And not a lot of the search companies out there can do that. You can index that email and it knows there's an attachment, but we're also full text indexing the attachments as well. The way we do it, just to give you a little bit of the technology, is we actually have, we make 3 passes at the content. We leverage Solr as our indexing engine, and we leverage a Postgres database to actually store that index. And there's technical reasons for it, but really what it boils down to is you're searching off Postgres, and your search doesn't slow down while Solr's out indexing. Once everything's indexed, we index changes. Additions, deletions, updates. We don't index everything over and over again. So we're not crushing your systems on a daily basis. And because it's Solr, you can determine when to do the indexing. You can do it all the time. You can have it do it just at midnight, whatever makes sense for you and your business. So when we go and index a document, first we capture the name of the document, the location, the metadata, right? Then we go back in with some filters and we look for machine-readable text. We're going to index as much as we can that way, because if it's readable, don't OCR. Then we come back and we say, what wasn't machine-readable? Were there images? Were there CAD drawings? Things like that. And then we OCR the text within those and create that master database, if you will, of information. Additionally, with security, we are actually Active Directory enabled, so I don't show you anything you're not allowed to see. If an application is not AD enabled, then we can actually go off of the ACLs within that application. So when you do a search, you won't even see a result you're not supposed to see. If you do, we just exposed a problem in your Active Directory. So the list goes on and on. There's a number of different ways you can do it. As I mentioned, you know, non-Windows format, non-machine readable documents we can capture. And there's a lot of different ways. We were actually started as a document imaging company. Most of our customers are smaller law firms and consulting firms who have looked for ways to do content reuse, for example. So they'll scan a document in, or they'll have an electronic document, and they'll leverage our tool to create an index. And then if they're writing a proposal for a customer, and they know that they wrote something very similar last year, they can go grab the critical information, excuse me, reducing the time spent building that proposal, getting it out the door faster, and hopefully winning. So there's a number of different ways we can be leveraged, but obviously we were here to talk about Alfresco and how we can add gravity. And then I got one final slide. Okay, it doesn't show up on my screen very well, but it's kind of fuzzy, but just to give you an idea of what we're doing, because I'm not doing a demo here, and I'm happy to do a demonstration for anybody who's interested later on. But similar to Alfresco's new search, we've got refiners on the left, so you're not just getting a big results table of stuff that you were looking for. You put your search term up in the upper left, and you can use the fine-grain, the Boolean searches to make sure that the only information is the information you want. If I put in project and Phoenix, I'm going to get things with project and Phoenix in it. If I put it in quotations, I'm only going to get things that have project Phoenix in it. You can do things like, say, O.J. Simpson within 5 words of Nicole, right? If you wanted to find information related to the O.J. Simpson case, but only when it was talking about O.J. and Nicole together. There's a number of different ways that you can actually do the search, and my engineering team can get into that if you're interested. We give you the ability to refine it. We give you the information, what it is, where it is, the content silo that it lives in, and then we actually give you the ability to either open it. In the case of a Word document, it would just launch in Word. Or you can go to the location within that specific content silo. So if it was in SharePoint and you just wanted to go there and say, what else is in that folder, you click on the link and it will launch SharePoint, and there you go. We've also added a viewer, right? So maybe you don't want to go and open every single one of the documents you found. Perhaps it'd be good if you could just get a quick look. Is this the document I wanted? That's not it. Go to the next one. Oh, there it is. That's the document I'm looking for. And now you can grab it and take action on it. So that's kind of all of it in a nutshell. I probably spoke way too fast, so we've got a lot of time left. But I would really like to understand, A, what kind of questions you might have for me, and B, what are the search problems that you have? What brought you to the room today? Ryan.
How do you search multiple SaaS companies? Say you get the Box and Google Drive and what have you, what's Microsoft OneDrive, that kind of stuff. Can you guys integrate those? I think I saw that on one of the slides earlier.
Yeah, so OneDrive is a yes today. Box, we've actually been working with their team right now. We've got their API, their SDK, and we're building that out today. Google has been challenging. Their security is difficult, but it's not impossible. It's on the roadmap. Well, yeah, we use Active Directory for most of the security, but a lot of these applications don't, right? And so, at that point, we actually leverage the ANA on the application and you grab the ACLs, and at that point can determine. But Google's security, which if any of you are using Google Search Appliance and have deployed it, you'll probably know it wasn't easy because their security is not quite the same. So it's on the roadmap. It's not there today, right? But it is being built. Any other questions? It was that exciting, wasn't it? What brought you guys here today? Does anybody have a search project? Is this something in regards to Alfresco that you're mostly interested in? Or just search in general?
We haven't actually implemented Alfresco at this point. We're
Okay. Okay, yeah. So that use case I mentioned could be an interesting one, right? Give you the ability to try it before you really go too far down the path and make sure that it's humming. Anybody else?
We're in the process of upgrading. We're going to basically stand up new Alfresco servers. So we're going to migrate our content from the old content store to the new one and then plug it into all the disparate systems in our company. So
Perfect. Excellent. All right.
That's why I'm working.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. So I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about that and where you're heading with that and see if we might be a fit. Absolutely. What systems are you using today? Everything. Excellent. Yes.
It's mainly, I think we're looking to really get into our Salesforce data.
Okay. Yep.
That's a big thing for us, as well as we're a higher ed institution.
Right.
Student data spread out all over the place. So, trying to get it all centralized where we can leverage Alfresco to what it's supposed to do instead of what we're doing with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I worked in higher ed for a number of years, so I know how spread out things can be. Yeah. With the Salesforce, I'm glad you brought that up because I don't think I mentioned that. We've actually got a connector for it. We haven't released it as a production connector today because we want to be able to index every field in Salesforce, and today we don't have all of them yet. So we actually, if it's something that's interesting, we can absolutely show that. And
Doing custom fields, because that's something we leverage.
I would have to ask my engineering department exactly what it is that we're having a hard time with, but I believe the idea is that we'd be able to index every field.
That's huge.
Excellent, good. Does anybody else have any questions or willing to share what you're doing?
We just have multiple different content stores for different types of things, and Alfresco is just one of them. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know that there's a use case for us to be able to search across the different ones, but just to give a common user experience of, a place to search for the content you want
Right.
might be a benefit.
Absolutely, okay. We're fond of saying, so I'll probably butcher it, something along the lines of, maybe one day Alfresco will be the one content system to rule them all, but until then, there's VirtualWorks.
And we're starting to think that way, it's, which of these three other systems do we rationalize out of the mix of content stores?
Yes.
But until we get there, is there value to be able to have a single search location, regardless of where you're going to find the data?
Right, yeah. And that's what it really boils down to, right? Does it make sense, right? Because if you have one department that only uses this system and one department that only uses that system, maybe there's 3 employees in the company that need to access all of them. At that point, it's probably not a lot of time wasted, right? Unless it's the COO, CEO, and he's like, no, I want it, right? Then you say, okay. But I look at a large American bank who I had a conversation with, and they've got FileNet, OpenText, they've got a small Alfresco installation, they've got SharePoint, they've got file shares, and they also wanted to look at pulling in some information from some databases. And because they do a lot of acquisitions, by the way banks do, they're not able to just migrate everything to one place. And they've got people who said, you can take OpenText when I'm dead. And so they actually were considering, they have built a team whose sole goal is to try to find a search solution. And one of the things that VirtualWorks has done that most of the other search vendors have not, I'm not aware of any that have, but I'm not going to say none. This is our user interface, but we've actually integrated into Alfresco. We've integrated into SharePoint 2010, 2013, Office 365. You can do your search from the application that your folks are using. The other guys make you use their UI and then go to where you want to go. Again, I'm trying to add, add gravity to the applications that are most important to you and not change the way your employees work, just give them the ability to do their work faster.
So you said you develop connectors for different types of systems. Is the ability there to create connectors for systems that we might have that are unique?
Yes. I'm a sales guy, right? So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How much money do you have? No, yeah, absolutely. So the way that we've actually built the system, right now we write our own connectors, but but we actually are opening up our API. Sorry, I should have brought some water. Opening up our API so that we can allow people to develop their own connectors. And depending on the applications that you guys have developed in-house, we may be able to connect to it. Worst case scenario would be we could create, instead of a native API connector, we could create a SQL connector that would just hit the database. There are challenges that come from that. Thank you so much. there are challenges that come from that. Sometimes security can be a little more difficult. Not showing you content you're not supposed to see in some cases can be difficult. I'm a sales guy, but I'll be completely honest with you, right?
Well, that was going to be my next question was going to be, how do you handle security of these systems that maybe are not Active Directory?
Sorry. It's something that's worth looking into, right? But we've got a couple of systems that aren't Active Directory enabled that we'll just use the access list, right? You know, who has right to what, and we can do the A&A, the authentication authorization, off of the applications list. We got a customer or prospective customer right now, for example, that wants their clients, their web users, to be able to log in and search through all the content that they have available to them. And so they're looking at using us, and so we're looking at where the content's stored and how they're validating who has access to what, and to determine whether or not we could actually be that search solution. So again, I don't want to waste your time, so I'm not going to say it's absolutely we could do that. I'll be as upfront as I possibly can. It's worth looking into if you're interested, and I can certainly get my engineering team involved.
Which ERPs do you guys code?
SAP is the only one I'm aware of. We have we have connected to about 60 or 65 different systems. The 100% native API connectors are, that list is a little more limited, like Alfresco, OpenText, all the SharePoints I mentioned, 10, 13, and Office 365, a number of different file shares, Exchange, Lotus Domino, Salesforce, and I'm probably missing one or two others as well. And then when you look at the list of others that are, you know, 70% pre-built and then they're 30% configuration type of thing, like I said, there's 60 plus systems, but SAP is the only ERP I'm aware of. Any other thoughts, any other questions? I know it was really exciting. I at least got you guys to laugh once, so hopefully it wasn't the worst thing you've been to. If there's no other questions, I'll be happy to talk to anybody individually and give you a few minutes of your day back.